city, Capernaum, after crossing the sea. Matthew chapter 9 verse 1 And he entered into a ship, and passed over, and came into his own city. Jesus heals a man sick of the palsy. Matthew chapter 9 verses 2 to 8 And, behold, they brought to him a man sick of the palsy, lying on a bed. And Jesus seeing their faith said unto the sick of the palsy, Son, be of good cheer. Thy sins be forgiven thee. And, behold, certain of the scribes said within themselves, This man blasphemeth. And Jesus knowing their thoughts said, Wherefore think ye evil in your hearts? For whether is easier, to say, Thy sins be forgiven thee, or to say, Arise, and walk? But that ye may know that the Son of Man hath power on earth to forgive sins, then saith he to the sick of the palsy, Arise, take up thy bed, and go unto thine house. And he arose, and departed to his house. But when the multitude saw it, they marveled, and glorified God, which had given such power unto men. Faith. Jesus responds to the faith of those who brought the paralyzed man by forgiving his sins and healing him. Authority. Jesus shows his authority to forgive sins, which sparks controversy among the scribes. Power to heal. Jesus demonstrates his power by healing the paralyzed man, proving his authority over physical ailments as well as spiritual forgiveness. Jesus calls Matthew, a tax collector, to follow him. Matthew chapter 9 verse 9 And as Jesus passed forth from thence, he saw a man, named Matthew, sitting at the receipt of custom. And he saith unto him, Follow me. And he arose, and followed him. Grace and calling. Jesus calls sinners to follow him, demonstrating his willingness to reach out to those considered unworthy by societal standards. Response. Matthew immediately responds to Jesus' call, leaving his occupation to become a disciple. Jesus eats with tax collectors and sinners, prompting criticism from the Pharisees. Matthew chapter 9 verses 10 to 13 And it came to pass, as Jesus sat at meat in the house, behold, many publicans and sinners came and sat down with him and his disciples. And when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto his disciples, Why eateth your master with publicans and sinners? But when Jesus heard that, he said unto them, They that be whole need not a physician, but they that are sick. But go ye and learn what that meaneth, I will have mercy, and not sacrifice. For I am not come to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance. Association with sinners. Jesus explains his mission to call sinners to repentance, contrasting it with the self-righteousness of the Pharisees. Mercy over sacrifice. Jesus quotes Hosea chapter 6 verse 6 to emphasize the importance of mercy and compassion over rigid adherence to religious rituals. Jesus addresses fasting and traditions. Matthew chapter 9 verses 14 to 17 Then came to him the disciples of John, saying, Why do we and the Pharisees fast oft, but thy disciples fast not? And Jesus said unto them, Can the children of the bride chamber mourn, as long as the bridegroom is with them? But the days will come, when the bridegroom shall be taken from them, and then shall they fast. No man putteth a piece of new cloth unto an old garment, for that which is put in to fill it up taketh from the garment, and the rent is made worse. Neither do men put new wine into old bottles, else the bottles break, and the wine runneth out, and the bottles perish. But they put new wine into new bottles, and both are preserved. New versus old. Jesus uses metaphors of new cloth and new wine to illustrate that his ministry represents something new and transformative, not to be confined by old legalistic practices. Jesus performs miracles of healing. Matthew chapter 9 verses 18 to 26 While he spake these things unto them, behold, there came a certain ruler, and worshipped him, saying, My daughter is even now dead, but come and lay thy hand upon her, and she shall live. And Jesus arose, and followed him, and so did his disciples. And, behold, a woman, which was diseased with an issue of blood 12 years, came behind him, and touched the hem of his garment, for she said within herself, If I may but touch his garment, I shall be whole. But Jesus turned him about, and when he saw her, he said, Daughter, be of good comfort. Thy faith hath made thee whole. And the woman was made whole from that hour. And when Jesus came into the ruler's house, and saw the minstrels and the people making a noise, he said unto them, Give place, for the maid is not dead, but sleepeth. And they laughed him to scorn. But when the people were put forth, he went in, and took her by the hand, and the maid arose. And the fame hereof went abroad into all that land. Healing the ruler's daughter and the woman with the issue of blood, Jesus demonstrates his power over death and disease, responding to faith with miraculous healing.